The lights explode into gold as the crowd roars, and before you even see his face, a voiceover whispers, "Stay till the end, because what happens in the final 30 seconds changes everything." The camera sweeps across the AGT stage, judges smiling politely, audience buzzing, and then it lands on a slim young man standing alone under the spotlight. He's wearing a simple black jacket with a subtle rhinestone trim, hair carefully combed back, hands trembling just enough to tell the truth. Nobody knows it yet, but this is the moment the night tilts on its axis. If you've ever doubted yourself, ever been told you're aiming too high, don't blink, because this story is about to prove that destiny sometimes waits in the most unexpected voices. His name is Mateo Cruz, a 19-year-old from a small coastal town in the Philippines, where karaoke machines hum late into the night and dreams are often quieter than the waves. Mateo grew up in a one-room house with peeling paint and a radio that barely worked unless you held the antenna just right. His father, a fisherman, used to hum old songs while mending nets, and his mother cleaned houses in the city, leaving before dawn and returning after sunset. When Mateo was 8, the radio crackled to life with a song that stopped him cold, Elvis Presley's "Can't Help Falling in Love." He didn't know the language perfectly, but he understood the feeling. The voice felt like courage. From that night on, Mateo practiced in secret, singing into a cracked mirror, copying the way Elvis held a note, the way emotion poured out like confession. But admiration didn't mean acceptance. In school, classmates laughed when he sang. "Why Elvis?" they teased. "That's old. That's not you." Teachers told him to be realistic. Family friends suggested safer paths. Even his father, loving but worried, once said, "Singing won't fix a broken boat." Mateo nodded, swallowed the sting, and kept singing anyway at weddings, at small bars, at street corners where tips were coins and hope was stubborn. When a local talent scout filmed him on a phone and uploaded a clip online, it got a few thousand views, then vanished into the internet's endless noise. Mateo thought that was the end of it. Until one morning, an email arrived with a subject line he read 3 times before breathing again. "America's Got Talent. An audition invitation." His hands shook so badly he dropped the phone. The idea of flying across the world felt impossible. The cost alone could crush them. His mother sold a gold bracelet she'd kept since her wedding. Neighbors pooled small donations. His father pressed a folded bill into Mateo's palm and said, quietly, "Go show them who you are." The night before the flight, Mateo stood by the ocean and sang to the dark, promising himself he would be brave. Now, on the AGT stage, the judges ask their usual questions. "Where are you from? Why this song?" Mateo answers softly, accent thick, eyes bright. "I sing Elvis because his music helped me believe," he says. A few smiles, a raised eyebrow. Skepticism hangs in the air. Then the music starts, just a single guitar, gentle and bare. Mateo closes his eyes. The first note leaves his mouth and the room changes temperature. It's not imitation, it's interpretation. The timbre is warm, the phrasing honest, the vulnerability undeniable. He doesn't try to be Elvis. He lets Elvis pass through him and come out as something new. By the second verse, whispers ripple through the audience. Phones rise. A judge leans forward. Mateo's voice climbs, controlled but fearless, carrying years of doubt and nights of practice. When he reaches the chorus, he opens his eyes and meets the room, and it's as if he's speaking to every person who ever felt small. The song ends on a note held just long enough to ache. Silence crashes down, 1 heartbeat, 2, and then the theater erupts. People are on their feet. The applause is thunder. The judges stand too. One says, "I did not expect that." Another admits, "You took a legend and made it personal." There's laughter, cheers, a few tears. Mateo bows, overwhelmed, and for a moment he thinks this is the ending he promised himself. But it's not. Because the journey isn't a straight line, it's a climb. In the next rounds, pressure tightens. Comments online are brutal and brilliant in equal measure. Some say he's a copy. Others call him the future. Mateo struggles with nerves, with the weight of expectation. One rehearsal goes badly, and he sits backstage, head in hands, ready to quit. A vocal coach sits beside him and says, "You don't owe anyone perfection. You owe yourself truth." Mateo breathes. He remembers the radio, the ocean, the promise. For the live shows, he chooses a riskier song, blending an Elvis classic with a Filipino melody his father used to hum. It's a gamble. The first few seconds are quiet, almost fragile. Then the fusion blooms, and the crowd feels it, heritage and homage, past and present. Judges exchange looks. When the votes are revealed, Mateo advances by the narrowest margin. He cries. At home, his parents watch on a borrowed TV, holding hands. Week after week, he grows, not louder, but deeper. He learns when to pull back, when to let silence speak. He learns that confidence isn't pretending you're fearless, it's stepping forward anyway. Fans send messages saying his voice helped them through exams, through heartbreak, through nights that felt endless. Mateo reads every one. And then comes the finale. The promise you were told to wait for. The lights are brighter, the stakes heavier. Mateo walks out wearing a white suit with a simple sash and the colors of the Philippine flag. He smiles, steadier now. The music begins, an original song this time, inspired by Elvis but unmistakably his own. He sings about leaving home, about hands that let you go so you can fly, about believing when belief is all you have. The last note rings, and the room holds its breath. When the results are announced, time slows. Mateo doesn't win the trophy. The crowd gasps. For a split second, disappointment flickers. Then something extraordinary happens. The judges stand and applaud again. The audience chants his name. Social media explodes. A record producer approaches backstage. An invitation for a world tour follows. The camera finds Mateo as he looks into the crowd, eyes shining not with regret, but with gratitude. This wasn't about winning a show. It was about finding a voice and letting it be heard. As the lights dim, Mateo steps forward and speaks directly to the camera. If you're watching this, he says, and you think your dream is too strange, too old, too impossible, please don't stop. Sing your song. The crowd roars one last time. If this story moved you even a little, tap like to help it reach someone who needs it, and subscribe so you don't miss the next voice that changes everything. Because sometimes, the person nobody expects is the one who shakes the stage and the world just by being brave enough to sing "Wait, wait, don't skip." The narrator's voice cuts through the noise as the camera zooms in on a quiet figure standing center stage. Because in less than 2 minutes, this audition will flip everything you think you know. The AGT lights blaze down, the crowd buzzes with restless energy, and the judges look ready for another ordinary night. Then the spotlight finds him, a young Filipino man, standing alone, breathing deeply, carrying a past no one in the room can see. Before we go any further, if you believe music can change lives, hit like and subscribe right now, because this story proves it only takes one voice to shake the world. His name is Daniel Reyes. He's 20 years old, born in a crowded Manila neighborhood where dreams compete with survival. His childhood wasn't built on stages or spotlights, but on long nights and louder worries. His mother worked overseas as a caregiver, sending money home whenever she could. His father drove a tricycle 12 hours a day, coming home exhausted but smiling anyway. Music was Daniel's escape. When things felt heavy, he'd turn on an old DVD player and watch grainy performances of Elvis Presley, mesmerized by the confidence, the emotion, the way one voice could command an entire room. Daniel didn't just hear Elvis, he felt understood. But life didn't clap for him. When Daniel sang in school, kids laughed. When he performed at family gatherings, relatives smiled politely and changed the subject. "You're good," they'd say, "but be practical." Singing didn't pay bills. Singing didn't guarantee a future. Still, every night after work, Daniel practiced in front of a cracked mirror, copying Elvis's posture, then slowly finding his own. His voice grew stronger, but doubt grew faster. There were nights he almost quit, nights he told himself he wasn't special enough to be heard. Everything changed when a friend secretly recorded him singing at a small birthday party and uploaded it online. The video didn't go viral, but it reached the right person. An AGT producer saw something raw, something real. When Daniel received the audition email, he thought it was a joke. When it wasn't, fear rushed in. He had no money for flights, no guarantees, no backup plan. His parents didn't hesitate. They borrowed. They sacrificed. His mother sent a message that said only this: "Sing like you're singing for us." Now, standing on the AGT stage, Daniel feels the weight of every sacrifice on his shoulders. The judges ask him why he chose Elvis. He pauses, then says softly, "Because Elvis gave confidence to a boy who had none." The room quiets. The music begins. A slow intro. One breath. Then he sings. The first note doesn't shout, it whispers. But it's enough. Heads turn. By the second line, the audience leans forward. This isn't a copy. This isn't karaoke. It's Elvis through the lens of struggle, humility, and hope. Daniel's voice cracks in just the right place, not from weakness, but from truth. When he hits the chorus, power.